Welcome to CAS 133 Basic Computer Skills, Microsoft Office, Columbia Gorge Community College, The Dalles, Oregon. Linda Hughitt, instructor. We are up to week 9. So let's take a little tour of what we're going to be looking at this week. You have your textbook PowerPoint. There is a YouTube on how to do photo story and another one on advanced photo story. And if you're considering doing a photo story for your final project after this week, I would encourage you to watch both of those videos. This week we're going to be introducing you to Photo Story so you learn about the program. It's just another tool in your tool bag. It may not be something you use 50 times in a year, but it may be that one perfect tool to use for a certain special thing. It's a program that's free from Microsoft. It downloads onto XP, Vista, and Windows 7. It's called Photo Story 3. And the photo story about how to make a photo story tells you how to get photo story. Notice I did not mention Windows 8, and that's because it does not work on Windows 8. So if you're using a Windows 8 machine, you'll need to do one of two things. Either not do a photo story, or go up to the college on the Dalles campus to the library and use one of the machines in the library that has Photo Story installed on it for your use. I don't believe they all have it, but I do know that some of them do have it. You may have to ask at the desk to get on the correct machine. You're going to have your unit goals, your direction summary, and your summary, as always. Your instructional materials for this week are talking about how to make a photo story, and it is a video you need to watch. It's a video I made on Photo Story. There is also a Photo Story sampler that you'll watch, and there's going to be another video added that I just made that's going to go in there talking a little bit about the different uses of Photo Story, the types of things you can do, because in the past when I asked students what can you use this for, it seems to be a division between, oh, well, this would be great for personal things, PowerPoint's for professional. Not necessarily. Your business wants to have a presence at some sort of a fair or something that's going on like they do for Cherry Festival, and you want a video that runs on the screen and just loops continuously. It has auditory on it, it has talking, it has images, and they would like you to put something together. Photo Story is a great option, and that's definitely a professional use. If you were going to take it to a board meeting and show it, it may or may not be the option of what you want to use. PowerPoint, on the other hand, can also be used for personal use. I've seen some beautiful scrapbooking done with PowerPoint. Instead of doing the papers and the cutouts and the glue and all of that people do that are scrapbookers, people have chosen to use PowerPoint for their scrapbooking and have done some really fantastic things with it. So we're not going to just divide it by professional and personal use, because that's really not a very valid division. We're going to talk about specific uses and when one is going to be a more powerful tool than the other one. You are going to have a choice. Next week we'll be talking about the directions for your final project, and so we will go over those next week, but right now you're just going to be learning the tool or potential tool. Your student data files are also included there. Your assignment for this week is going to be working with Excel Chapter 2, as well as learning about Photo Story so you can make a educated decision about what you want to use it for. You'll have your application project, we'll go over here in a minute, a reflection journal, and I would expect that probably includes some reflection about Photo Story in it. You also have a Photo Story forum. It asks you about best uses of each program. And again, we're going to stay away from the, oh, this is personal use and this is professional use, because that's way too broad of a statement. That's really not that accurate. I can take both of those programs and use them for professional use. I can take both of those programs and use them for personal use. And then, of course, your extra credit uplink. If you have not done any extra credit to this point and are starting to realize that you might be dug into a hole that you need to get out of, you have the two options. You can do an extra credit Excel this week and an extra credit Access, but a lot of people aren't all that fond of Access. So you may want to wait and do a second extra credit final project. The other option is basically just to do 20 points worth of extra credit instead of trying for 40 if you've done nothing until this point. So what's it going to look like for the book? Well, get your book out. Let's turn to the Excel. Project number 2 starts on EX, excuse me, we're not in Word. EX66. Formulas, functions, and formatting. I will tell you right up front that if you don't use the formulas as directed in the book, you're immediately at 50% and going down for credit. Because the whole reason to do this project is to be learning to use the formulas. So again, that kicks you to that 50% contingency in the grading that basically says if you don't do it correct enough to learn the technique that the book is teaching for that project and defeats the purpose of learning it, therefore you start at a 50% and go down from there. You're going to have a finished project on EX67. You cannot just go in there and type what you see on that field and make it look like it, because when I open it up electronically, I can see if you've used all the formulas. I have had people submit it that way, and as soon as I look at the back and look at the formulas, it goes downhill quick. So please don't try that. It's just going to cost you points and time, and you're going to get to do it again or get an F. 68, 69 gets you started into the project, gives you your roadmap, starts working you through. And again on this one, once you have the data into the table, I would suggest that you save it before you start all your formatting so that you have a double copy. So you have a copy and a backup copy in case of disaster. And then you're going to go through carefully reading step by step the whole thing, every single thing. You're going to make sure your decimal points are set to the correct amount. If on like WD, or I don't know why I'm on Word right now, EX81, if you look there on column H that is highlighted in figure 2-14, you will notice how many decimals are showing on each number. Yours need to be the same way. So make sure you've set things correctly so you're getting those types of answers. Continuing on through the chapter, again, just being very, very careful that you're doing everything exactly as they say. If they say highlight, you're highlighting. If they're saying pull handle, you're using the pull handle. I would suggest that you go back to last week and make sure you have a copy of the tips and tricks. And as always, if you find something you think should be added there that would help someone else coming along in this class after you not have a same problem you did, let me know and we can add more things to it. When you get to EX91, notice it says to change the theme of the workbook. If this step gets missed, then you're not going to be able to locate the correct colors, correct fonts, whatever, to make things work. So please be very diligent on EX91 that you have followed that exactly and you have things set up, because otherwise when you get to EX93, you'll probably be sending me an email that says, I don't have the right colors for, and that's because you didn't do EX91 correctly. Continuing on, and once you do EX91 and 93 correctly, then the colors on 94 and 95 are going to be available. You're going to be able to set up your spreadsheet in the format they want you to have. You're going to be able to, on EX101, to have the correct colors and fonts because you've got the original things set up correctly. Talks about on EX103 changing column widths and row heights, and that's really important to do, but please remember, in the end, if at all I am seeing that hash number tag, it is not going to look good for you. So even if you have to adjust it just a bit to make sure that it gives me the full number and not that number symbol tag, do so. I do know that on a few of them we've had to do that just to make things come out quite perfect. Even though the book may say make it a 73, it had to be a 74 to give the correct spacing. Obviously, make sure you're checking spelling. Excel is not as good at spell check as Word is. It doesn't do the little red underlines. At least mine doesn't like to, it seems. I have to highlight the column and ask it to actually spell check it. So please make sure you do that. It has some additional spell check information on EX 109. It talks about the printing and the page layout, and that's always important to know because you may be in a setting somewhere that you are in fact going to have to print it. The standard joke used to be at my one job that I always sent them the July work form for hours, even if it might have been December. And really it was because I could never get the different months to print. The July one was the one that always wanted to print. So I just finally gave up and wrote in the right months and let them laugh at me. So learning to print is important. This was many years ago, and now I probably could do much better at getting that to print. Scaling print scales to 100%. Again, you get to the end where you get your chapter summary, which is your little kind of mini glossary or index. You're into the yellow pages. Again, if you're going to do extra credit, it needs to be in the labs. There's a loan balance worksheet, a sales summary worksheet, expand your world, cloud, and web technologies. And then on EX 127, you're down to your application project with your consider this your turn. You're going to have the option for analyzing energy consumption, making sure you do answer the questions in part 2, using good grammar in English and things like that. That's so important. You can analyze a profit potential for the second one for that one, or internet services. And again, it's the research and collaboration one. Without any collaboration, you are it. You are the one and the only. So that sort of takes us through for this week and the parts that you need to get completed. As always, if you have any questions, please send me an email and I'll get back to you as quickly as possible.